Hello again, Chennai. So today, as every Friday, we're having our lovely reading club on Fast Food Nation Chapter 3. Last week I have read for you the part 1 of Chapter 3. This week I'm finishing the Chapter 3 for you. It was a very long part and I didn't want to confuse you, so I split it into two different parts. So, before starting with the new pages, I want to review with you what happened in the previous chapter. Let's see. First event. The marketing manager, Dawn, is going to Cardi City and visits the cow fields. Do you remember? He is looking at the cows in the countryside. Second one. Don stops at the traffic lights and the yellow van stops next to him. What is this yellow van? Who is driving it? Who is inside? Third, the van arrives at the hotel and the Mexicans are packed into a hotel room. They are all together. The room is crowded. There are many people. That's why I wrote they are packed. 4. A man called Mike comes into the room. Mike is very rude to the Mexicans. He chooses Jorge and Raul and takes them away. At this point, he also looks at Coco because he likes her. Next, Don goes to his hotel and then goes to Mickey's for dinner. Mickey is the name of their fast food. Where he speaks to the cash assistant. There is a cash assistant there, a girl. Her name is Amber. So, this is where we have left chapter 3. Let's see what he is going to ask to our lovely friend Amber. I'm starting reading for you by showing you on the timeline. There is no party, sorry. What about now? Chapter 3 and part 2. At Mickey's. I am reading for you. So, Amber asked Dawn at first, what would you like to take? Dawn is asking Amber, what's your favorite thing on the menu? He asked Amber. Oh, I like everything, Amber laughed. Dawn nodded, doing like yes with his head, and he says, that's a good answer, and then explained, I work in Mickey's marketing department, and I'm here to see where the big ones come from. He says who he is. He's the marketing manager. He's there to see the big ones production. Amber was really interested and she said, really? Don continues, did you know every big one in the country is made at Uniqlo Meat Packing right here in Cody? He's saying to her that every big one is produced in Cody at the UMT, Uniqlo Meat Packing. UMP, I'm sorry. Behind Amber in the kitchen, her friend Brian was preparing Dawn's burger. What a stupid guy, he thought. Brian didn't like working at Mickey's. You can see him, he's angry. He didn't like the people he worked for either. Give me a burnt burger, he said to the man who was cooking the meat. Here. Then he put it in the box for Dawn He smiled. Don thanked Amber for the bouquet and took it over to a table by a window. He looked out at the traffic passing along the road and started thinking about the next day. Would he find anything bad at the meat packing factory? Was there really manure in the books? He's thinking and said, is there really manure in these books? So we are coming again at Mike's place. So Mike is here with the truck. Then the truck, where are we? I'm sorry. Mike was driving Raul and Jorge through Cody. The streets at night were very different from the streets in Mexico. Raul and Jorge couldn't believe their eyes. It was a new world for them. There were signs of money everywhere. This was a place for people who had lots of money. People here could buy everything they wanted. They passed fast food, restaurants, supermarkets, and shops. All of had their names in bright lights. They had never seen anything like it. When the truck left the lights of the town and they started to pass more buildings, offices and factories, finally they arrived at a very large building with high fences and a guard at the gate. They saw the name Uniglobe Meat Packing and the picture of a cow. Raul looked at Jorge. They had arrived. This was the place where they killed the cows. Will we have to kill the cows? Asked Jorge. He was in changing room with Raul. They put on special clothes, white boots, white overalls, and gloves. Everything in the building was white too. The ceiling, floors, walls were all completely white. It looked like a hospital. Raul shook his head. No, you need training for that. I don't know what we'll have to do. Wait and see. Without speaking, a man gave them hard, white hats, put on special glasses and white hats. They passed many different rooms, but they couldn't see inside them. In one area, men were pushing huge carcasses of cows. Carcasses are dead bodies. Oof! They were hanging from the ceiling and moved along with special bars. Rahul had worked in many places before, but this place was different. It was clean and bright. There were people rushing everywhere, but no one spoke, silent. It was like one big machine. Rahul noticed the man working in the corner. He only had one arm. Then finally the man they were following pointed at the door. This was it. For a moment, Raoul felt afraid. What was this work? Was it dangerous? Together, he and Jorge entered the room. Now, imagine to find a job in a meat packing factory. What would you do? Would you be able to kill the cows? Even if it's for food? Second question for you. Can you make some examples of Turkish meat packing companies? Thank you very much, my dears. See you next week with the fourth chapter of this book. Let's see what's going to happen.